The next thing I'll talk about in the SpiceDB schema language is a very small addition that was made for a very specific purpose. So the name of this feature in the schema language is called a wildcard relation. And so what a wildcard relationship allows us to do is it allows us to do patterns like make an object public. So heading back to my editor, it's possible that we want to say that some document is readable by any user, not just the specific named users. So in order to add that, we're going to add an alternative subject type for a document, and we're going to say that the subject type is user : star. So this is a wildcard, and as I mentioned, it will match any user that actually gets passed into the system as a user object. Even though we've defined this on the schema, that doesn't make all documents automatically public. What else we need to do, or the next thing we need to do, is we need to write a relationship that will specifically make one document readable by all users. So we're going to make a new document just for the sake of this example, and we're going to call this document example public doc, and we're going to say that the readers of the example public doc are user : star. So we want all users that can identify as a user subject type to be able to read this doc. So if we go back to our expected relations and we create a new version where we say example public doc, we define this as the empty list, we should expect it to show us all of these users, but it doesn't. And the reason that it doesn't is because loading up all of the users, trying to find all of the users in the system, is actually somewhat nonsensical for relationship-based access control, because our relationships are only defining edges. We don't have an exhaustive list of all of the users of the system. But to test this with one particular user, we can use an assertion. So here we can go say that we want to make sure that user reader 1, user : reader 1, has read access to the document. So if we run that, sorry, that's quarterly planning, we want example public doc. So for example public doc, we note that the user does in fact have read access to the doc. Just to make sure this isn't some kind of wacky aberration, we can change this to, folder planning, right? So we want to make sure that folders don't have view access to the document. Yep. So as expected, that fails, but reader 1 works. Now the reason I said it's nonsensical for it to list out all of the possible users is because we can make assertions about users here that have never been seen by the system before. So this could be like an anonymous user or an unregistered user. And those will still also pass, even though there are no other relationships in the system that references this username.